What's up, YouTube? It's the one and only legend of winning, aka Low, and I am here with my first episode of my NBA preview. So what this is me basically reviewing and projecting what is going to happen in the next upcoming season for all 30 teams, and I will be uploading daily for the next 30 days. Because of how rigorous this task is and how difficult this may be for me, all I ask is for people out there is to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, like the channel, and just always keep updating yourself on the NBA preview. And if you like it, you should be able to do those things anyway. Also, I will be doing some giveaways along the way as well, because some of these teams you got to give some away because they have a little bit of a sketchy road ahead of them in the next upcoming season, and maybe even a few seasons down the road. And with that being said, it's actually a pretty good transition into the Chicago Bulls, which in my prediction will be the worst team in this NBA season. And because of this, I might as well do a giveaway. So I'm giving away a Chicago Bulls t-shirt. All you gotta do is hit the subscribe button and leave a comment in the comment section below with the word t-shirt in it, and you'll be able to enter into the free giveaway. But with all that being said, let's break down what's exactly going on with the Chicago Bulls over the last couple of years, because it is a bit sketchy. So Chicago over the past several seasons have seen its ups and downs. Obviously, when it comes to Chicago Bulls, you obviously have to bring up Derrick Rose. He was dealing with some pretty harsh injuries that kept him sidelined for majority of his career, unfortunately, and we missed out on an MVP candidate for like 2 to 3 seasons. Then Chicago Bulls finally came to the conclusion to kind of cut him loose and trade him away to the New York Knicks, receive some assets, and also they decided to move in a different direction without Joakim Noah last offseason as well. But for whatever reason, I assumed that they were going to hit the restart button completely and trade Jimmy Butler as well, and it seemed like they were moving in that direction. However, what they decided to do was double down on Jimmy Butler, bring on players such as Rondo and D-Wade, and overpaid D-Wade, mind you, on top of that, and things just got completely out of hand. And to some people's expectations, they did underperform last year, which then led into this offseason in which they finally decided to move forward without Jimmy Butler and trade him to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in return they received a whole bunch of young assets. And this right here is a great transition to the first segment of this series, which is the summer of social media. All I'm going to do is play a clip that kind of wraps up how the fan base of a certain team feels about their organization over the past couple of months. And shout out to King of the Fourth Quarter, because he is a loyal Chicago Bulls fan. I don't know how you do it, but this is a clip from his YouTube channel.
To sum it up real simple, on my belief or my opinion on the draft and the trade, as simple as this. Simple as that.
So shout out to King of the Fourth Quarter, because he actually wrapped it up pretty well. For the people out there who don't know, Gar Forman and John Paxson, they are the general manager and the vice president for the Chicago Bulls. And for the longest, people have been preaching and yelling to fire them and get them out of the organization. So much so that people actually started a GoFundMe to try to raise some money to grab some attention for the Chicago Bulls to actually make action on the management of the organization, not necessarily the personnel or the coaching decisions. But finally, here we are now with the roster, the depth chart, and even some of the contracts is vastly different from what we are used to with the Chicago Bulls over the last couple of years. As a matter of fact, let's just look at the depth chart and the contracts of this organization for this next upcoming season. So first, looking at some of these contracts, the Chicago Bulls decided to bring back Felicio for a 4-year, $32 million contract. Pretty solid. Justin Holiday for a 2-year, $9 million contract. I guess that's okay as well. They needed some depth at the guard position. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But the biggest piece that they signed to the team was bringing back Doug Collins. This was something that was pretty low-key. They actually did it just yesterday as I'm recording this video, which is something that is really throwing some people off by surprise. But in my opinion, I think it's a wink-wink towards Fred Hoiberg. If you keep messing up, we're just going to bring Doug Collins as a head coach, and we're going to move forward without you. Also, when it comes to the overpaid contracts, D-Wade is obviously the best candidate for this award when it comes to this team. $23.8 million is next upcoming season. Obviously, we're assuming he's going to be traded or bought out, so keep that in mind as well. And then when it comes to the expiring contracts, we have D-Wade, obviously, Quincy Pondexter, and then Zach LaVine, which is extremely interesting because no one seems to want to talk about the fact that Zach LaVine is an expiring contract, and he's coming off a very, very serious injury off the previous season. But with that being said, let's actually just jump into the depth chart itself so you can figure out what exactly the Chicago Bulls are working with. And this is probably the biggest reason why I believe that this will be the worst team in this next upcoming season. Because when we take the time out and look at the roster, it's a head scratcher. So in the backcourt, we have Chris Dunn and D Wade starting. At the 3, we have Quincy Pondexter, and then rounding up the big men, we have Bobby Portis and Robin Lopez. Then coming off the bench, we have Zach LaVine. I know people are going to be upset at this, claiming that Zach LaVine should be a starter, but again, just calm down. He's coming off an ACL tear, so I'm pretty sure they're not going to rush him back on the court. There still is no timetable when exactly he's going to be back, but again, they're probably not going to rush him on the court. And by the end of the season, more likely he will be starting, but I just had to do it as a formality because D Wade is technically, and I don't know why, but he's still on his team. Then we have Lauri Markkanen, their 7th overall pick in the last draft, which is extremely interesting because on the offensive end, I actually like Lauri Markkanen, but everywhere else, I'm not too fond of him. Defensively, he's a bit shaky. When it comes to grabbing rebounds, I don't know. And even offensively, his ability to knock down a 3 ball, he was able to do that at the collegiate level, but obviously, as we all know, the college 3 and the NBA 3, they're 2 different distances. So who knows how he's going to be able to translate his game at the NBA level. Then we have Valentine, Felicio, Zipster, everyone else who really doesn't have high expectations. Now, the reason why I believe this team will be the worst team in the NBA is because there is no guarantees when it comes to this organization. Bobby Portis, who more than likely will be a starter, this is his first year taking that role. Lauri Markkanen is a rookie. Quincy Pondexter is coming off an injury that kept him sidelined for 2 seasons. He hasn't played a game since 2015, which is crazy. Obviously, D Wade, like I said before, we don't even know how many games he's going to play for this team. Zach LaVine, again, like I said before, is coming off a very serious ACL injury, and from a player who relies heavily on his athleticism, who knows what type of player he's going to come back as. And you have Cameron Payne, who's going to miss the first month, maybe even longer, because of an injury as well. And then everyone else, the expectations of their play is so low that really and truly no one really cares how they produce on the basketball court. But then when it comes to Chris Dunn, which is something that I have to point out, and this is the reason why he's going to be our spotlight player of the day, Chris Dunn, Chris Dunn. It's a lot of question marks that are behind his name and his style of play. Now, Chris Dunn, for people out there who are unaware, is heading into a sophomore season and started his career with the Minnesota Timberwolves as a rookie, and it was fairly underwhelming. Now, a lot of people are being much more optimistic than I am, due for multiple reasons. A lot of people are saying that the reason why Chris Dunn underperformed in his rookie season is because Coach Thibodeau is known for not working well with young players. Also, keep in mind that he had to find footing in the offense because the offense did feature both Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. And finally, it was his rookie year, which is a huge reason why I'm not going to give him the B word just yet. I'm not going to label him a bust. Not yet, but we're really close. And the reason for this is that even though yes, this was his rookie season, at the end of the day, being the 5th overall pick in the NBA draft and going to an organization that wanted you to shine because they were willing to move forward without Ricky Rubio and performing the way that he performed is quite disappointing. And even though yes, Chris Dunn last year was a rookie, he still spent 4 years at the collegiate level. So the transition from college to the NBA should have been much more smoother than what he provided us last year. So I think that's the biggest reason why a lot of people are so quick to label Chris Dunn a bust. But the thing that's even more interesting about Chris Dunn, and matter of fact, we can just throw Fred Hoiberg into this equation as well, is that both of them are obviously on the hot seat for at least the next 2 seasons, because the Chicago Bulls are really and truly hoping that they'll be able to grow with both of them at the forefront. Which then leads us to our Twitter question of the day. If you have a question for me about a certain organization, follow me on Twitter and reply to the tweet that is pinned up on my page, and I may pick you out and answer it on one of my NBA preview videos. But with that being said, shout out to @SupremeTims, and he asked, do you see the Bulls being good in 3 to 5 years? Now, this right here is a really hard question to answer because of multiple reasons. One, a lot of these players are young and inexperienced, so it's kind of hard for me to project what's going to happen down the line. Two, it's fairly obvious that this isn't going to be the finished product of this roster. There's a lot of pieces that could possibly change down the road. But 3, and more importantly, it's extremely hard for me to project what's going on with the organization because how unpredictable and unorganized the management is. Now, shout out to the Chicago Bulls fan because I actually like you all. Outside of the little moment y'all had with Derrick Rose where a lot of people were in denial about him being healthy or if he was going to be able to come back to his MVP form, outside of that, majority of you all are extremely smart and intelligent and understand what's going on. As you clearly can see, you all already understand that y'all are at a rebuilding phase. There's going to be a lot of long, cold winters, some low ticket prices, and y'all gonna be sitting back waiting for some of those ping pong balls to bounce in your favor at the NBA lottery. So with that being said, you all also understand that at the end of the day, it all comes down to the management. And when it comes to the management for the Chicago Bulls, they've been doing a lot of questionable things over the past couple of seasons. Like I said in my intro, they fired Coach Thibodeau. Then they decided to move forward without D Rose, but not completely rebuild and then try to mask some type of roster together at the last minute with Rondo and the overpaid D Wade. And then in the middle of the season, they decided to trade away Doug McDermott and Taj Gibson. And then literally months later, they decided to just blow it up and trade away Jimmy Butler. It's just ridiculous. And then also in the same time frame, they had some very questionable trades that they have done with some of their young draft picks, such as in 2014 when they traded away Nurkic and Gary Harris for Doug McDermott and Anthony Randolph, two players that are not even on the team anymore. So again, it's hard for me to project what's going on with the organization because at the end of the day, it all comes down to the management. And if the management is making some ridiculous, unpredictable, unorganized, and just out of the blue decisions, it's hard for me to project what's exactly going to happen. But if I were to be optimistic, I can see Chris Dunn being a solid contributor, not a star player, not an all-star, but a solid 10 to 15 point scorer. Work on his defense, he can be an elite defender that can space the floor out, and that's probably it for Chris Dunn. Zach LaVine, hopefully when he gets back healthy, he can produce at the same level that he once was before. And again, he does have a 3-point shot, so I do like that about his game. And Lauri Markkanen, I do like his ability to score offensively, and he feels comfortable taking certain players off the dribble, especially slower bigs, so I like that as well. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the Chicago Bulls having to play badly for Marvin Bagley or getting that draft order for Michael Porter. At the end of the day, that's it. You got to tank. You got to tank to get some of these young guys on the roster and beef up your lineup and really and truly have some promise on the team. And until that happens, again, it's pretty hard for me to project what's exactly going to happen. So because of that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in another t-shirt for the free giveaway. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button as well and leave a comment in the comment section below if you want to enter the free giveaway. Also, make sure you subscribe to King of the Fourth Quarter. Make sure you subscribe to SDG. Make sure you subscribe to Mike Zimba. Make sure you go find every single YouTuber that's a Chicago Bulls fan. Go subscribe to their channel because these Chicago Bulls fans, y'all gonna need to see some love. Y'all gonna need some loving over these hard times. Also, play a Derrick Rose clip just for old time's sake.
Lead pass.
Stop it! Stop it! Do not do him like that! What are you doing, Dragons? Did you not get the memo?
Matter of fact, play a Jimmy Butler highlight as well, just for old time's sake.
Starts to drive, step back in the air.
Oh, happy step back and kiss myself! Big time plays make big time plays!
Matter of fact, give me a Joe Kim Noah one as well.
Down, Lou into the lane, bounces.
Matter of fact, let me see some Coach Thibodeau also.
Help each other, talk early, loud, continuous talk, tied together, hustle play.
Man, it just seemed like it was just yesterday when the Chicago Bulls was good. So there you have it, people, the Chicago Bulls, and the reason why I believe that they will be the worst team in this next upcoming season. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and if you enjoyed the video, please come back to the channel to be updated on more of the NBA preview, and also follow me on Twitter if you want to ask me any Twitter questions whatsoever. But I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.